Hello there, and welcome to this session doing some tactics on chesstempo.com. Doing 1800 and 1900. Let's go and get started. Bishop takes queen is mate. Rook g8. So if you take here, the problem is rook g8 is mate. Or is it? Rook g8, king h7. Pawn f6. Rook g8. King h7. What you got? He has queen g7 check. Ah, very nice. That's very nice. Okay, f6, rook g8, king h7, queen g7, bishop g7 forced, and rook g7 mate. So then what's the story? Queen f6, queen f3, queen f3, queen f3, queen f3, queen f3, pawn f3, and then that's game over, yeah? Queen f3, queen f3, ef2, rook g6, threatening rook h6 mate, as well as f6. I would have I would have bishop g7, rook takes g7, f2. Very cute combination. Okay, all right, I know that this is the beginning of the problem. All right, and now bishop g7, rook g7, f2, rook anywhere, f1 queens, rook f1. Well, f2, rook must come to f1. And then I take on g7. Just to give, so the rook must stay on the first rank. And now I'm just going to take. Rook takes, rook c1, king g2, and rook c2 should put a very solid end to any further struggle. Good problem. Good problem. Good problem because, you know, I got it right. All right. Rook h7 is a perpetual. Rook h7, bishop h7, rook h7, king g8, rook check. And now if I could get my knight to e7. No, but what I could do is I could play knight e6, threatening h7 check. Does h7 check actually do anything, though? Well, it's certainly a way to win a pawn, yeah? What if I throw in knight f7 check somewhere? If I give knight f7 check now, bishop takes, then it's nothing. But if I go rook h7, bishop h7, knight f7, rook f7 is forced, rook check, bishop check, knight check, Rook takes. Rook takes check. I feel like I'm very close. Very close to solving that. What about rook g7? Rook g7, knight mates. Rook g7, king g7, rook check, king h8, rook check. Rook g7, rook g7. Wait a second, can I take on d8? Rook d8. Rook d8. No. Rook g8. Rook g8. Rook g8, king h8. That's where I'm losing the thread somewhere there. Somewhere, I'm imagining here a scenario in which there's a rook here, there's a king here. Both of these pieces are off, and I just give the knight check. Rook takes, rook takes. Well, I can play it this way. I can play rook h7, bishop h7, rook d8, knight f7, king g8, knight takes d8. And I've won a pawn. It's funny, actually, if he ever takes on h7, if there was something like knight here, rook takes, and if I can take on f8 because, oh well, no, I can't. But if the knight stayed there and rook takes, I would have h7 mate. Very interesting position. Frustrated, I can't figure it out. Should be. I feel like it should be easier than this. I feel like I'm missing something instrumental. So the problem with rook g8 is king g8. Can I figure out a way to make that not a problem? Rook g8, rook f8, I'm winning with mate. Is there some way to force that? Rook h7, bishop h7. Rook takes d8, rook takes d8, knight check, bishop takes. Is there something like rook takes g6 here or something? Some sort of rook takes g6. Rook takes, rook takes. Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. King takes. Rook takes, rook takes. If I can get in like knight h8 check, rook g8, and then h7 mates, something like that. That would be splendid. Really, honestly, the only thing that I'm really seeing is knight takes h7. Rook takes h7, bishop h7, rook d8, knight f7 check, knight d8, e4, king c1, or king c3. But then his light squared bishop is really good against my pawns, and he has these two passers, and my pawn on h6 is almost definitely going to fall. So rook d8, rook d8. Yeah, 90, 96, 96, and bishop takes, he gets mated, but 96 and just rook d7 is an issue. I don't see it. I just feel like the best you have here is a perpetual. Rook here, king. Let's go back to that. Rook g8, king g8, rook takes, king h8, rook h7, king g8, rook check. King h8, rook take. So now the rook is here, the rook is here. I've won a pawn, but I'm down the exchange. And then I can give a fork to get back the exchange. And then I'm sort of okay. I can get 2 pawns. That seems like the best so far. Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, knight mate. Rook takes, rook takes, king takes, check. King h8, check. King g8, check. King h8, knight e6, fork. And now I have the g6 pawn, which will fall. No. I mean, I can do it this way too. No. Wow. Okay, so what the fuck? Knight f7, rook f7. Knight f7. Knight f7. Bishop f7. Knight f7, rook f7, rook d8. Winning. Knight f7, bishop f7. Knight f7, bishop f7, rook f7, and no matter which rook he takes with, he's getting mated? Oh my, wow! Knight f7, bishop f7, rook f7. Now if rook takes d7, rook takes f8 mate. If rook f takes, rook d takes mates. And if the rook moves nowhere, then rook h7, rook g7 is mate. Wow. Okay, so complete Zugzwang. Zugzwang. Yeah. Okay. I'm still getting this wrong. There's a better move than that. Takes, king takes, then rook d8, check. Yeah. Okay, there is a better move than that. Wait, no. Yes, because then I will take on f7. Yeah. So it doesn't want me to lose the pawn. That's the point. So rook g8. If rook d, then I take here. And if he takes here, well, he can't take that. It's check. So here, if king takes, then rook d8. And if rook takes, then rook f7. Oh, because of rook d8. And at the end of all of that, I still failed the problem. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for being here. Ta-ta. That's embarrassing.